Tourists get deported every day for mistakes they didn't even know were serious. Overstaying a visa, carrying prescription medicine, or even taking a photo in the wrong place can get you kicked out, and sometimes banned for life. Some travelers assume they'll just get a warning, but in many countries, one wrong move means an immediate flight home. Here's why tourists get deported, and how to avoid being one of them. Overstaying a visa, even by a day. Some countries are strict. Stay 1 day longer than allowed, and you could face fines, detention, or even a long-term ban. In Thailand, overstaying means paying a fine for every extra day you stay. But if you overstay too long, you'll be detained, blacklisted, and banned from returning. One traveler overstayed for 2 weeks, thinking he could just pay the fine. Instead, he was detained at an immigration center, treated like a criminal, and banned from Thailand for 5 years. In the UAE, overstaying can get you arrested. In Schengen countries like France or Germany, even a short overstay can mean being banned for years. Solution? Always double-check visa rules. Don't assume a short overstay is no big deal. Lying at immigration. They will catch you. Immigration officers are trained to spot liars. If you give fake details about your visit, where you're staying, or what you're doing, you risk being sent back immediately. One traveler flew to the UK claiming to be a tourist, but officers searched his bags and found a resume and work documents. That was enough. He was deported on the next flight and banned for 5 years. Another case? A woman entered Australia on a tourist visa but had private messages on her phone about babysitting for cash. She was detained, questioned, and deported within 24 hours. Don't risk it. Always be honest about your visit. If you plan to work, get the right visa. Bringing the wrong medication. Some medications that are legal in one country are banned in another. If you bring them in, even with a prescription, you could be detained, fined, or deported. In Japan, common medications like Adderall, used for ADHD, and some nasal sprays are completely illegal. Tourists have been stopped at the airport, had their meds confiscated, and were sent back home immediately. In Dubai, travelers carrying even a small amount of codeine, a common painkiller, have been arrested. Some have spent weeks in jail before being deported. Solution? Check the banned substance list before you travel. If you need medication, bring a doctor's note and declare it properly. Joking about security or politics. In some countries, making a joke at the airport or posting a controversial opinion online can get you deported. A British tourist in Egypt made a joke about security checks at the airport. Officers didn't laugh. He was detained, interrogated for hours, and deported. In Thailand, insulting the royal family, even by accident, can get you arrested and banned from the country. A traveler posted a joke online about a Thai king. He was reported, detained, and banned for life. Be careful what you say, especially in strict countries. Taking photos in restricted areas. Taking photos might seem harmless, but in some countries, it can lead to serious consequences. In the UAE, snapping pictures of government buildings, military sites, or even strangers without consent is illegal. Several tourists have been arrested, had their cameras confiscated, and were deported for violating these rules. In North Korea, a traveler was caught taking unauthorized photos, leading to detention, intense interrogation, and a permanent ban from the country. Even in places with fewer restrictions, certain locations remain off-limits. The best rule to follow? If you're unsure whether a photo is allowed, it's safer not to take it. Disrespecting local culture or laws. Some behaviors that seem normal at home can get you deported abroad. In Dubai, public displays of affection, like kissing, can lead to arrest. Several couples have been detained, fined, and deported just for holding hands. In Singapore, chewing gum is banned. One tourist was caught bringing gum in, fined heavily, and put on a watch list. Another big mistake? Drunk or disorderly behavior. In some countries, being drunk in public isn't just frowned upon, it's illegal. A British man in Thailand got into a drunken argument with a taxi driver. He was arrested, detained overnight, and deported the next day. When in doubt, follow local customs and laws. Illegally working on a tourist visa. A tourist visa is strictly for visiting, not for working, whether online or in person. Many travelers assume that remote work doesn't count, but in places like Bali, digital nomads have been deported for violating visa rules, even if they weren't employed by a local company. In South Korea, foreign teachers working without the correct visa have been arrested, fined, and permanently banned. Immigration authorities take work violations seriously, and getting caught can mean immediate deportation. The solution is simple. If you plan to work, whether remotely or for a local employer, always secure the proper visa to avoid trouble. Using a fake passport or visa. Using fake documents to enter a country is a serious offense that almost always leads to deportation. Immigration officers are trained to detect fake passports, altered visa stamps, and expired documents. One traveler in China attempted to extend his stay by forging entry stamps, thinking he could avoid the visa renewal process. He was caught, fined heavily, detained for days, and ultimately deported with a 10-year ban. Many countries have strict penalties for document fraud, including lifetime bans or even jail time. The risk is never worth it. Immigration authorities check everything, and getting caught can ruin future travel plans. Illegal protests or political activism. Some travelers assume they have the same free speech rights abroad as they do at home. They don't. In China, a tourist was deported for participating in a small protest. In Russia, a traveler was kicked out for attending a political rally. Before you join a protest, think twice. It might not just get you arrested, it could get you banned from the country. Having the wrong passport stamp. Some countries ban entry if your passport has a stamp from an unfriendly nation. Example, if you have an Israeli stamp, many Middle Eastern countries won't let you in. One traveler was denied entry to Lebanon and deported immediately just for having visited Israel. Before you travel, check for travel restrictions based on previous stamps. Deportation isn't just for criminals. Simple mistakes, like overstaying a visa, bringing the wrong medication, or taking an innocent photo, can get you kicked out of a country permanently. Some tourists assume they'll just get a warning, but in many places, there's no second chance. One mistake, and you're gone, sometimes for life. The best way to avoid trouble? Know the rules before you go. Every country has different laws, and assuming it's fine could be the biggest mistake of your trip. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up, share it with friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this.